Those states are likely going to turn out to be massive wins for him. Putting a lot of hope in Indiana is a way to hope, but he really is winning this nomination quite clearly. And I think denying that that's the situation in the Republican Party right now is more spin than anything. We'll see how many delegates he gets tonight. Nobody says he is going to get a sweep, but if he gets 50% statewide, that'll give him all the at-large delegates, and then we'll see him start to rack up 3 delegates, 3 delegates, 3 delegates, 3 delegates in congressional districts all over this big state.
Tell you what, we'll keep this live picture up because this is the lobby of Trump Tower, where they just had applause and cheers reacting to the news that apparently all the major networks now have projected Donald Trump as the victor here in New York. I'd like to bring in the voice of Chris Matthews, Brooklyn Bridge Park. Chris, this is precisely the conversation you were having right before the break.
Yeah, I think that we've had a hard time in this election season telling the difference between a concession speech and a victory speech. Nobody wanted to concede. But tonight, Trump will give a victory speech like we haven't heard. The New York media market, you're both there, I'm here too, is so powerful in the world today. The world's going to hear within minutes that Donald Trump has carried New York. It's going to have an overwhelming power throughout this country and around the world. New York is the center of the consciousness of the universe, as John Lennon once said. It's where we make decisions, the broadcasting capital, the financial capital, the cultural capital of this country. If it picks Trump by, say, 20 points tonight, how can the Republicans stand in the way of that? It's awesome. And he's going to talk like that, I think, in a few minutes. Rachel's dead right. This election's being decided as we speak. And this domination fight.
Chris, as we'll stay on this picture and we'll bring Trump's live comments the minute they start. I want to talk about New York again. If I can ask the control room to put up that shot of Times Square that we so often use. It's from a robo camera several stories above Times Square. This is unofficially referred to as Crossroads of the World. The truth is, it's been a construction site for all of recent memory. The traffic is squeezed, forced to drive over steel plates. It is a horror for the pedestrians there. And the bridge Chris is sitting in front of by the great genius John Roebling, the truth about that bridge is underneath it, the L train subway tunnel between Brooklyn and Manhattan, Chris, it was knocked up really badly during Sandy, really banged around. And now the construction on that tunnel isn't going to start until 2019. And when people hear that, because no one cares enough about these projects to go be a leader, get the funding, it's depressing. And that part of the Trump argument that we haven't been winning, that he's tired of losing, that our airports should look better to people arriving here, that part has grabbed people who are not necessarily political, who would not have described themselves as Trump fans early on in this process. They wouldn't mind to see a little bit of that here in New York and especially other older industrial cities around the country.
The great, terrible paradox, guys, is that people do trust Republicans to use their dollar a little more efficiently than Democrats, a little more. And yet Republicans don't want to spend the money on things like that. So the party that would have a little more business sense, you might say, it claims it certainly, isn't willing to do it. And the party that wants to spend money on infrastructure isn't trusted to keep the money used efficiently. We have got to find a way to rebuild this country. If you think about the old phrase, we live by the heat of fires we didn't light. It's so true. I look at the subway system in Philadelphia. I look at this infrastructure we built. This amazing building put up in the 1880s by the Roebling brothers. This is a beautiful architecture. The Golden Gate Bridge. Would we build anything like it today? We built the Empire State Building in the depths of the Depression in 1 year. We were capable of building. Ayn Rand had it right. Building skyscrapers is the great tribute to our building ability in this country. We have a trash can of a subway, New York, Penn Station is a dump. I'll repeat it again. Pat Moynihan said, we arrive in New York like rats, not like princes. LaGuardia is a joke, and yet you travel anywhere in the world, Japan, China, South Africa, beautiful airports, beautiful train systems that go 200 or 300 miles an hour without making a sound. You can put your Coke on the tray and it doesn't move. In this country, it's the Wild West going from New York to Washington. It's a disaster. And that is the real problem. You've got the heart of it. If we can't build, we can't live, and we can't grow. And that is a problem for both political parties for different reasons. One is entrusted with the money, and one has stopped offering to do anything in government. And that's a problem.
Wow.
Chris Matthews, you're brilliant. Chris, I mean, to the point that you're making, I think to the point that Brian was making, Trump's appeal around this is, listen, I'm a builder, therefore I'll get it done. Don't think of me as a Republican on this issue. Republicans have been so against any infrastructure investment, particularly in the Obama years, because it's been an Obama-Biden priority. It's been a signature issue of Vice President Biden's, in particular for his entire career. I mean, one of the things that is, I think, exciting in the punditry business for the prospect of such an unusual matchup in this general election is because nobody really knows what a Donald Trump campaign would be like. I happen to believe that in the general election on some issues, he'd try to run to the left of a Hillary Clinton. We've seen that on the Iraq War. We've seen that in some ways on infrastructure. That idea of scrambling that matrix of ideological expectations, whatever you think of the candidates, is exciting in terms of what it would mean to cover it. But in terms of this win tonight and Donald Trump having this win in New York State, what do we know about how he's put that win together and what its overall dimensions are likely to be? For that, Steve Kornacki.